Looks like pretty presentable for the services they got for, of course, the court docket that they got going on. Since Superior Court is open, you can put your documents and services all online. All online. Ben Franklin, Juvenile Court 1, Juvenile Court 1, Juvenile Court 1. Judge Alexander, non-criminal review motions, review domestic violence protection, 1:30 p.m., 1:30, 1 p.m., 1:15, 1 p.m., 1:30, 2 o'clock. Emergency motion. Ben Franklin daily schedule. This is Monday, 30th. Today's the 30th. It's March 30th, 2020. $10:53. Contact your attorney. No attorney on case notice will be sent to address file. Reset dates will sooner than 4/27. Please keep 6 feet apart. Unless you are invited to attend a court, please leave the Justice Center. We want to keep everyone safe. Jury take elevator. Jury and headed personal owner. All documents placed in the drop box after the services. They're aware there's only 1 million affected here at the virus disease. 1 million affected here in Washington State was the co-censor of the J. Neal administration. Since the Congress of Letter began in New York Wednesday, 4th of March, thousands of hundreds of this Congress of the United States. New York Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1,189. Words of government of the territory of the United States. North of the river before the services. Northwest Ordinance. Northwest Territories. And this is George Washington House and Fairda, Washington, which is number 42 and C Street of Washington. That's Daniel Garth and Jennifer, and Andy Miller, and the prosecutor and secretary of staff. Famous for calling loose Nicholas, written by May 22nd, 1782, sharply rubric coronal letters suggesting in the Washington King and Nicola, the oldest and wisest of most efficient Washington commanders. Holidays of writing of what was a society discussed in the recently American Army, officers and the like, through disqualifying distinguishers, and of course, treatment by Congress, ripe of such a pilot, which is a plot, had commander-in-chiefs, subscription and blandness of friends like Nikolai, tremendous popularity and boasting with the army and without. That's George Washington himself here, the Freda Washington, which George Washington House is number 42. The Gettysburg Address, which is the Gettysburg Address by Lincoln handwriting and held and derived in the November 19th, 1863, reproduced above the original Library of Congress. Mr. Abraham Lincoln. Acclamation Proclamation, and this is the issue January 1st of 1863. Freed the slaves in territory rebellion against the United States. An instrument of surrender. This is signed by Tokyo Bay, Japan, 2nd September of 1945. Command of behalf of Emperor Japanese government. The commander of behalf of Japanese Emperor World Headquarters, accepted Tokyo Bay, Japan, at 0908 on the 2nd of September of 1945 in the United States Republic of China, 9 Kingdom, 9 Socialists, Soviet Social Republics, and interests of other United Nations. Supreme Commander for the Alien Powers, United States Representative, Republic of China Representative, United Kingdom Representative, Union Soviet Social Republic, Commonwealth and Australia Representative, Dominican Canadian Representative, Provisional Government of French Republic, and King of Netherlands, Endowment of New Zealand Representative. Acting in command on behalf of Emperor of Japan, Japanese Government, Japanese Imperial Headquarters, hereby provisions of Fourth Declarations, head of the governments of the United States and China and Great Britain on 26 July 1945, at the subsequently adhered by the Union of Soviet Social Republics, which is the powers are here for allied. Here, protection and unconditional surrender, allied powers, Japanese Imperial Headquarters of all Japanese armed forces under Japanese control. Command Japanese forces wherever situated, Japanese people to cease hostilities, herefore by preserve to save the damages of all ships, aircraft, military, and civil property, and compel with all requirements which may imposed by the Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers by agencies of Japanese government of his direction. Hereby command Japanese Imperial and General Headquarters in issuance of order to Commander of all Japanese forces, all force Japanese control wherever situated, to surrender occasionally themselves of all forces under their control. We hereby command all civil, military, naval officials obey enforce of all proclamations, order to directives, and deemed by the Supreme Commander of Allied Powers of proper to the effective surrender if issued by him or under authority, and direct such official remain in their post and continue to perform non-combatant duties unless specified, revealed by him or under his authority. I hereby then undertake the Emperor, Japanese government, therefore successor carry out the proclamation of declaration of good faith and issue whatever orders or whatever action may require Supreme Commander and Allied Powers or designated representative. Hereby command Japanese Imperial Government, Japanese Imperial Government General Headquarters at the liberty of Allied prisoners of war, civil interests under Japanese control, promissory protection and maintenance of immediate transportation of places as directed. Emperor of Japanese Government and Allied Powers, and deem proper information. Look like they asking for USS Arizona. Was bombed on December 3rd, the bombing of December 3rd, which was the fall of dropping Hiroshima, the little boy and the big boy, the fat boy and the little boy. So USS Arizona was underestimated in various ways, Mr. J. Mueller, United States Air Force, Senator McCain, Eugene F. Pratt, tours in Vietnam. As you can see, the services that they got. And they have the increments on the wall. Merry Christmas. YMAN Christmas Message, 1944. Encourage the Christmas Message. Brigadier General Anthony A. McCluffy, 101st Airborne Division. Surround the German units, brigades, Belgium's consents. Reply nuts. The Germans demand surrender. Original reduce. Merry Christmas. And this is 101st Airborne Division. This is Christmas Message, 1944. This is the Merry Christmas Airborne. This is the McCluskey Christmas Message, 1944, presented by Exchange Club. Encourage the Christmas Message, Brigadier General Anthony. 101st Airborne Division, surrounded by Germans units at Belgium, contains his famous reply nuts, like screaming squirrels, screaming chipmunks, screaming squirrels, presented by Exchange Club. This is a selection of General Eisenhower, Supreme Commander of Overload, Principal President Roosevelt, to message Saltine, immediate appointment. General Eisenhower, Command Allied Division of Western Europe. Overlord has been decided upon, reproducing above, written by General George C. Marshall and signed by President Roosevelt and the bearers of explanation gift, General Marshall. That's J. Mueller Administration. That's 1401 South Union, Kennel, Washington. Mueller's funeral home at 1401 South Union, which is his plot is on the property, along with USS George Washington. Now this is Washington Company's Constitution. This is the printed draft of the Constitution, President Conversation of Committee Draft, August 1787. Belonging to George Washington. He's the President of the Constitution of Convention. Corrections of his handwriting. Original document, first page and first reproduction above, the National Archives of Washington. This is a George Washington House in Fort of Washington, C Street, where I contacted Mr. Andy Miller and also Dana Garth, the prosecutor of Fort of Washington, Grant County. Moses Lake Police Department, 401, 411, Moses Lake City Hall. They have the Class A uniform in the museum. They have the Constitution on this plaque here. And this is the original copy of the Constitution, and George Washington did his preliminary debut in the Fort of Washington, the George Washington House, number 42. The neighbors, Colbus, Waltz, and Chadwick, and Natalie, and Nate, and also the services they have, that's Mr. Chadwick, Ken, and several others at the number 56, which they retained $10,000 for the ordinances they carry in the courtrooms. Here, we took Andy Miller at Seal Bend, Washington, U.S. We have a Superior Court F unit, Court D, Bend County Support, Court E. We get J. Felice, Norma Rodriguez, and 190 East Main Street, Othello, Washington, right across from the Mid-Columbia Library, 101 East Main Street, Mid-Columbia Library. Mid-Columbia Library is right across from Mueller's funeral home. You got the Bend County docket, which is Court D, and then Court E and C, and also Juvenile Court 1, Bend Franklin County Schedules, Bend County, Maine, and that's Judge Carmen Mitchell, and also Judge Alexander Eastman, and Judge Carmen Mitchell, Judge Carrie L. Rung. Criminal Emergency Matters, Court E, Court C, and Carrie L. Rung, and also Judge Alexander Eastman, Court D, Judge Carmen Mitchell, and also Judge Carmen Mitchell, Court 1, Franklin County. And those are the ITA hearings, FCs, BCs, FTR, emergency motions, petition orders, protection orders, criminal premises, and also criminal emergency matters. And Norman Rodriguez and J. Felice, 190 East Main Street. And also Mr. Brandon West, it's from Spokane, Washington. He's a public defense counsel, Washington Park Association. This is Andy Miller's building 7112 West Okanagan Place. Court B, Superior Court B, and this is where Andy Miller convicted Mr. Joshua for there's premeditated murder, murder in first degree, second degree, and so forth. Premeditated murder, manslaughter, mayhem is Superior Court E. These are electronic devices such as no drinks and no family law status conference dockets is 317. That's March 17, 28. Contact your attorney for details of attorney and case notes will be sent and addressed to your court book. Of course, you have the services for your business around the corner, all other business around the corner, which is and the jury orientation, take elevator, Court D, and Superior Courtroom, of course. Superior Courtroom A, B, and E. Premeditated murder, manslaughter, and what have you, racketeering, child pornography, child molestation charges, criminal trespass, and services like misdemeanor courts are. But these are the big boys. This is number A, number B, Support Court B, Support Court A, Support Court E. Child pornography, child molestation, class, murder 1, murder 2, murder 3, premeditated murder, also manslaughter, homicide, hit and run, like me, myself, hit by a vehicle, and hit and run would be belligerent homicide, reckless driving. It can't be reckless when you hit a person. It's vehicular homicide, especially when you're alive, and considered presumptions of services of pleading not guilty or guilty, or as you would say it, number B, number A, number E. Now we got number D, which is the Superior Court. There's number C. And we also got Superior Court F. We got the Court D, Benton County Support Court. He's been here since the original building built in Prosser, Washington. See, in Prosser, Washington, the archive system has Senator McCain in Phoenix. There's a Florencia prison yard, and also in Fresno, Blackstone, which is most the Chinese and Japanese and family, all Chinese quartels, that Donald Trump would say, the Chinese families and services, they always have their docket up on the wall, posted. All notorious Florencia, Arizona BCL members in 13th Street, 14th Street, and 18th Street, whatever you have, they have their docket that's put up on this emblem here. That's like Franklin County, where the state patrolman, Mr. Soderman, was executed at Pasco, Washington. That'd be Lola Hernandez and Roberta Barela and Fabian Barela. And that would be also the services they got with Rodriguez, with, Bobby Fox and Bob Fox, and their services they have a road insurance, which is road insurance has a road refrigeration and roads pavement system, and Mr. Atwood family, and have Premix, Remax, and Premax Concrete Company, where they have contracts are abided here, where they're expanding the building now. So they're pouring concrete and rebar and foundation, the original services for the abstract record for your reading and writing comprehension. Of course, you did that work source or your SAT or CASAS. They got it posted on here where they have the low bid, high bid. So it's pretty economical. The people coming out are reoffending or processing, they're getting a job or getting themselves back on their feet, and they got a job promotion or servicing them because they have the best bids and best job increments. And that's a $2 billion contract by Donald Trump. His divorce is finalized, no strings attached anymore, so he's finalized his divorce, and this whole place is a $2 billion renovation. And George Washington himself, as you can see, the emblem of George Washington's document. It's on, you can see the emblem of Moses Lake Washington in the back emblem. You know, it's can't miss it. Can't miss the emblem. Can't miss the emblem on that the flag and the Moses Lake emblem. George Washington House, the Congress of the City of New York, City of New York, Wednesday, 4th March of 1789. And the Patrick Henry instruction of George Rogers Clark, December 17, Patrick Henry, Governor of Virginia, instructions of George Rogers Clark, Commander of American Forces, Illinois Country, that's the John Deere Evergreen Implement, John Deere Company in Illinois. Most powerful John Deere RT956 tank, and also JDP, like Bakers, Malcolm Monroe, and Charlie Cox, which is Yesterday Farms. And that'd be 100 and Othello, Washington, Majars, and also SVC. They have their corporate service in George Washington House, which is Sacagawea Apartments, Apartment 205, where Mr. Soderman is executed in Pasco, Washington. Contrary, Mr. J. Mueller is the Mueller's owner, owner, coordinator in services, and also his promotion with Amy Mueller, Mumu Ganja, and Avak, Donald Trump. There's a monument with Donald Trump's Avak, Donald Trump's headstone, and that location, which is the monument itself. That location's on my property, so in my lot. So that service is pretty self-explanatory. It's Barela section. Mr. McCain, Senator McCain, Jay Mueller's Air Force, and also Mr. George Bush's Air Force. He got shot down, and the youngest one out of all is Junior. That's Laura Bush and George Bush. But Barbara Bush no more, but Senator McCain no more, and they were out a checkout to Mr. Senator McCain. Their services in the George Washington House is documented. Gonzaga University was built and remodeled. Congress of July 4th, 1776. Declaration of Independence. This is Declaration of Independence. The draft of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution Congress in June 20, 1717. July 2nd, debate of the begins of the date for July, and adopt on July 19th, Congress of Declaration of Independence. Engrossed and engraved, presented by Exchange Club, Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence, Jefferson's rough draft, Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, rough draft, independent of changes, and Ben Franklin, and John Adams, and also members of Committee 5 of, and that's what I was talking about over at that church. There was Abraham Lincoln, or Benjamin Franklin created the electricity, light bulb, and his son was a criminal, convict, and Mr. Abraham Lincoln was executed the third time executed in the theater, in the booth. George Washington's increments and first name, last name, and signatures are very professional. They take it very serious. First name, last name, write a check out to Senator McCain, write out checks to Jay Mueller, and have Mr. Jay Mueller write a check to Andy Miller, the prosecutor of Washington State, and the Declaration of Independence, which is here in the area where Gonzaga was built, and also the South Lawn and Mueller's Supreme Home was rebuilt, and Chapel Falls and Kennewick Avenue was rebuilt, and also Green Lane Memorial on Court Street in Pascagoula was built. And their services are on here, documented. That's Jay Felice, that's Mr. John Cooney, Jim Cooney, malpractice. He does all the services for, of course, I get hit by a truck, and I can call him up, and Mr. Dallas Cooney, of course, can call him up, 326-2613, talk to him, get hold of Pam, call 519-735-3591, Andy Miller at CO Benton, Washington, that's Taylor, secretary, and they have services have updated and downloaded. And that's, of course, Mr. Brandon West and Mr. McKinnon Law Firm in Mose Lake on Olive, and also Mr. Ashley, and she does her services here in Mose Lake as well. And Mr. Dano Law Firm on Broadway, where I get hit by the truck, and that's a white Trailblazer Ford, Stephanie Main Jordan Swamberg, and Mr. Swamberg is the judge here as well. But anyways, this is all this downloaded, this information. Mr. J. Felice, Brandon West, Probe Counsel in Spokane, Washington, their service, and Brandon West contacted me so he didn't even show up to court. And Mr. Carol J. Benzel, the judge of District Court of Othello, watched this courtrooms that they have, Ms. Andy Miller at CO Benton, Washington, U.S. And George Washington House in Freda, that's on YouTube, Facebook, and the administration office. I'm going to download this and put this on, of course, on Microsoft download. That's 380 apps. It's 350 locations and apps on top of the 180 apps, the 350 apps, and that's live. And that's on SOS.WA.GOV in the Social Security office at 813 in Klamath, Cincinnati. You see the entire building inside and outside. And also, that's Mandeep Kandar, Ajmer Singh Nijjar, AJM Singh, SANG Nijjar, and that's Hernander, and that's Mandeep, and that's Jasmine, and that's, of course, Rami, and that's, of course, Kandar and grandfather Jasmel Kandar Singh Nijjar, and also Mother and Father Administration Office in their brand new white, the Platinum Sequoia and the white Tundra that's parked outside. And that's a red line, that's the room and services that are all paid for in full. But this is the most accurate information you can get in this entire walkthrough here in 712 Okanagan Place, Andy Miller's office. That's Andy Miller at CO Benton, Washington, U.S. 519-735-3591. His phone and fax is 519-736-3066, and that's Kel J. Benzel, 425 East Main Street, Suite 400. 519-488-3935. City Hall, Othello, Washington. That's Sean Logan, Jim Logan, and Laura Logan, Marty Logan, and Andrew and Anthony at 1005 East Hamlet at Lions Park, at that gigantic picnic table where the barbecue sits at, because we love barbecue, ribeye, some, of course, stuff roast beef and texturized and rotisserie, as we can see, marinating individual product for hours, days at a time, and then kick it all up. Anyway, we have this all downloaded and submitted. And that's 519-73, I'm sorry, City Hall phone number is 519-488-5686. That's Bonnie and Yvonne Hernandez. Bonnie and Yvonne, and also the services. And across the street is the, of course, integrated, the 425 East Main Street, Suite 400. And that's Carol J. Benzel, 519-488-3935. And that's prosecutor is Eddie. Eddie Barela is not Eddie, the prosecutor of, not Eddie Barela. I'm Swamberg is next door. He does those cases, and so Judge Carrie Mitchell, and Judge Alexander and Carmen Mitchell, Judge Carmen Mitchell, and also the commissioners of Ben Franklin County Juvenile, Jacqueline. They're all very, very sophisticated individuals.